influencer and ambassador marketing, which is a very exciting topic, obviously, and really talking about the power of the people and how to use people to really reach into the hearts of your customers. So I'll do a couple quick intros and then turn it over. So we have Marin Hamilton, who leads social and community strategy for the North Face. Hello, Marin. And she has over a decade of experience bringing brands to life through social media. She's become a thought leader in all things content and community, has a master's degree in digital media from University of Washington, and public speaker on topics like social media strategy, content creators, digital trends. She leads an outdoor industry networking event in Bend, Oregon, focused on creating connections and building community. And in her free time, she's trail running or paddling the river with her dogs. Love it. We also have Lauren Balfour, currently overseeing influencer marketing at REI. It's a couple powerhouse people here, and 7 years of experience in the outdoor industry across brands and retailers. Lauren is passionate about building thoughtful partnerships with creators and ambassadors who are change makers in their communities, contributing to the evolution of the outdoor industry and the protection of the outdoor spaces. She believes partnerships can be an impactful force for driving connection and getting outside and increasing representation in the outdoors. So amazing bios, amazing experience, who are really going to dig into this important topic. And Marin, we will start with you.
Welcome. Thank you so much. Hey everyone, thanks so much for coming, especially right before the scavenger hunt. Is anyone else on team 2? Team 2's going, oh, yes, okay. I will see you after this. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm excited to share the stage with Lauren. We actually get to work together because REI is a big wholesale partner of the North Face, so we've gotten to do some fun creator campaigns together in the past. So I was doing some research for this talk, and I came across the most interesting thing. When do you guys think that influencer marketing was first recorded? Like the first recorded influencer?
Like on social media channels or
just in general?
1874.
That's a good guess. That's a good guess. It was actually the 1700s. So this guy, Josiah Wedgwood, he was a potter. And he sold the tea set to Queen Charlotte, and then he started to market himself as the potter to Her Majesty. And that's like the first time that someone started to use like the idea of getting influence from someone, right? We're gonna jump a lot of decades forward. The 50s were really filled with fictional personas like the Marlboro Man. The 80s brought a lot of the celebrity endorsements. The new Nike film is so good about this. Obviously, like a true case study in influencer marketing, Nike and Michael Jordan. The 2000s and 2010s, lots of bloggers and influencers. And then today, where we're really talking about creators a lot. And this is just like the rise of micro-influencers, creators. This is because of platforms like TikTok, where people are just calling for authenticity. And so a lot of what we're going to talk about today is from the angle of creators, which is kind of the space we're in now, but it really applies to broader ambassador marketing. Okay, so what % of people do you think have bought a product after an influencer recommended it? 80. So 80% of people have been influenced by these ambassadors for brands on social media. I'm curious, has anyone bought something because an ambassador promoted it? Someone shout out like what they've bought. Dickies. Oh, another VF brand. Thank you. I didn't place her here for that. Anyone else? Bonus points? What? Walkie-talkies. Were they good? Did you like what you got? Did you trust the influencer? That's amazing. Very cool. One more. Someone shout something out. An electric fly swatter. That's niche. Do you have an Amazon link for it? Okay, great. Put it in the Slack chat. So what's really interesting is kind of this change where we saw the blogger influencer world switching over to the creator verse is because people are over the BS. They can see through the fake, the filtered, that's overly posed and produced. This is like one of my favorite Instagram accounts, Influencers in the Wild. They just post fails all the time. It's amazing. But Merriam-Webster actually defines influencer marketing. It's a person who is able to generate interest in something by posting about it on social media. And so I think we need to stop calling these kind of people influencers that aren't actually influencing. So just level setting, this is not what we're talking about today. We're talking about actual influencers, brand ambassadors, content creators who actually have the ability to influence buying decisions. And it's really just given rise to this new kind of influencer. I'm going to play a little video here. This is one of our North Face brand ambassadors.
Hey guys, Mo here, and I'm going to talk about the things I wish I had known when I started rock climbing. I started climbing because someone told me that I couldn't, and I wanted to prove them wrong. I wish I had known when I first started climbing that it didn't have to be painful. It can just be fun. Everything can feel good. Climbing doesn't have rules, and that's one of the coolest things about it. That was really cool. I wish when I was a new climber, I hadn't been so afraid to ask for help or for advice. I think I would have grown a lot faster. I wish 36-year-old me could kind of go back in time and smack 20-year-old me and say, get out there, put yourself out there. Like, you fit in, you belong here. Global Climbing Day is so important because I think it gives us this focus on the message that everybody, every person, every background belongs in the climbing community.
So Mo is one of our North Face ambassadors. She's on our global athlete team. And what's really interesting with this type of content is that it has that level of authenticity, right? Like, people believe what she says because she's being true to herself. And it's different than what we think about when we think about the influencers of the early 2000s or even a lot of the celebrity endorsements before that time. Oh, hold on.
Hey guys, Mo here, and I'm going to talk about the things I...
Okay. So whatever you call them, and Lauren's actually going to talk more about like the differences between ambassadors and athletes and creators. Ambassadors as a whole, they're not going anywhere. And so we're going to talk about some best practices. The first is to always start with shared values. This seems like a no-brainer, but there's so many brands I see that like clearly aren't doing this. So root your partnerships in both brand, creator, and then also consumer values. So you see this little Venn diagram, you want to be in the middle part. So find authentic connections. If you partner with the wrong influencer, it might make your entire campaign ineffective. It could actually like create the opposite reaction. So this is just to show some of the ambassadors that we work with for the North Face. So we have Jimmy, who's on our athlete team, Patty, who is a creator, Evelyn, who's more of that influencer level. But we partner with all three of these folks because of our shared values around exploration for all. And that's really what we start with. That's how we define the partnership from the beginning is, hey, we have the same values, the same goals in mind. The second best practice is to let creators create. So do give influencers creative freedom, do have a strong brief with clear guidelines, have clear goals and benchmarks, and keep it authentic. Are there any creators that are in here? Becky, yes. What do you think about this do's and don'ts? Don't micromanage influencer work, do you agree? Yeah. Don't expect that they'll know everything you know. I see this one all the time where people that are working for brands think that like every consumer knows everything about what it's like to be inside this brand. And it's like, no, they need a brief that like really establishes what the focus areas are. Don't keep it vague or open-ended. Like that's the worst thing you can do, like give some kind of guidelines. And then also don't forget about FTC guidelines. So you don't want to get sued for not disclosing that it's a paid partnership. And here's a fun one where we really leaned into the idea of letting creators create. This just came out a couple weeks ago. And it was hard for some of the people in our internal marketing team to be like, we're going to release all the control and let him deliver this. But the performance metrics show that it worked. Oh. Uh-oh. Here we go.
What's up? My name's Puffer, and I originally got this new Circle Off jacket for its looks, but I'm not gonna lie, this thing's warmer than a husky in a hot tub. Up until now, I've never worn a jacket that makes me want to blast the Lumineers on vinyl more than this guy. Sometimes I'll wear this thing in the summer just so people know I've been in some less than ideal weather scenarios. And if I really want to flaunt my outdoor prowess, I'll pull the zipper all the way up while shopping at Whole Foods. It's honestly baffling because the second I put this thing on, people don't know if I'm taking my border collie Booter to the dog park or sending it on some V12s in Squamish.
So a very different approach than a like hashtag ad, hashtag sponsored, buy the new Circle Off jacket. But this is what really breaks through is like we're working with a creator because of what they bring to the table. So we need to allow them to create. Co-create together. So make it a partnership. This is a creator that we work with a lot, Angela, and she's just been an amazing partner of ours. I joined another session earlier and people were really talking about like, it should be more than just like, here's the brief, hand over the file, here's your money, right? It needs to be like a true connection. Like you should be friends with these people. You should be spending time with them. You should be like bringing them to events. It should really feel like a relationship, not just like, here's the money for the work, right? The third thing is provide value to the viewer. And if you're not sure where to start with that, you can always look at the 3 E's. So educate, show how your product's made. How-tos, this could be like connected to your product, but also much broader. So the North Face has a how-to series on how to get into trail running, what's all the gear that you need for trail running. Or it could be hacks, new ways to use your product. I love this. So if you guys have your phones, take them out, go to Google and search your brand name and scroll like halfway down the page and you should see people also ask. And I'd love to know, like, do this right now. See what people are asking about your product. And I'd love to hear from you guys, like, what are some of the things? So this is a search for the North Face backpacks. And the first one is a North Face backpack good for college? And so we're like, okay, we need to work with college creators to produce content around our packs. Which backpack is bigger? Like, so we're like, oh, we need to do more of like an educational video on the differences between these 2 key packs we sell. Anyone searching right now and finding anything funny? Let's hear it. Our Osprey bag's worth it. What do you got? Oh! That's amazing. That should be like. Oh,
I Google that.
Can you guys see? Oh yeah, okay. That should be a content piece you make though. Like you should. It is okay. Great. Entertain. This is a literal quote from Charles Dickens. Make them laugh, make them cry, make them wait. That's something that we think about a lot when we're partnering with creators. I'm sure a lot of you have seen our Summer of Pride video, but this is like the epitome of entertainment. Excite, so inspire your audience. Use on emotion and storytelling and focus on a shared point that we can come together to solve. This is a creator that we've worked with a lot in the past, Nelson. He does a bunch of great videos about just making the outdoors more inclusive. And so we really like leaned in on that shared pain point together. How do we work on this problem together? Create long-term partnerships. So this is actually the gal that we worked with to promote our backpack for college. And interestingly, she had posted just organically. She had like 200,000 followers on TikTok. She said, I got this new pack. And she just started calling it the Granola Girl pack. It's not the official product name. She sold our pack out in like 3 days. And so then that was 3 years ago. 2 years ago, we reached out and we're like, we would love to partner with you. She now had 500,000 followers. We're like, what are your rates? We paid for paid content that did insanely well. And then actually year 3, we worked together again. She's almost to 1 million followers across social channels. Her rates have gone up, but we are happy to pay for them because the ROI is there. So as you think about going beyond a sponsored post, some things are offering more than just compensation, include intangible experiences. So if you can get them to come out to events, if you can get them to come and check out new products with you, help them grow their social following. We work with a lot of creators that are more up and coming, and getting featured on the North Face channel with 5 million followers can do a lot to help grow their following. And then consider a revenue share model. So if you want to do something with affiliates and really allow them to make some compensation from that as well. And then build real relationships. So like this is our creator manager here on the left. These are a bunch of creators that he took to our Climb Festival in Chicago. And some of them were friends before, but they like truly bonded and became besties at this event. I thought it was important to put this on here. You have to pay creators. Like if you're a brand, exposure is not going to pay the bills. And just free product is not it. It's 2023. We can pay creators. Yes? Okay. The last thing I'll talk about is just connecting to your broader goals. So don't work in a silo, really. Think about setting SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So that example for Global Climbing Day, our marketing goal for that was really to expand the reach of Global Climbing Day. And then when we set our specific creator objectives, we were talking about increasing impressions of Global Climbing Day by 20% year over year. And so we have something that's very specific, it's very measurable, we know it's attainable, it's relevant, and it's time bound. We can easily measure it. And so I'll close with just this recap of the best creator campaigns. They're rooted in brand and consumer values. They give ambassadors and brands the opportunity to co-create. The content has to provide value, go beyond just a single sponsored post, and make sure that they're driven by your larger marketing goals. And I'll pass it over to Lauren.
Thank you, Marion. So much to learn there and be inspired by. So I'm going to dive a bit deeper into some of the elements that Marion spoke to and speak more about the opportunity to be developing a talent pipeline within your ambassador marketing program for really looking at it as a partner ecosystem. And so just to start out stating a bit of the obvious, but it's so easy as marketers, as someone who is tasked with hitting KPIs, to look at more as like a plug and play with ambassador marketing, but that's not the right approach. It's not one size fits all. And so since our partners are human and life happens, brand strategies change, you have to approach your partnerships in the same way that allows for to be agile and to be evolving together. And so let's look at who's in your partner ecosystem. As Marion said, we have creators, we have ambassadors, athletes, etc. But really what you call them is not as important as how you approach your partnership with them. And there's some similarities in definitions when you look at the experts in the industry like Grin and Influencer Marketing Hub and just conversations with colleagues. And so that's where you can generally understand who you're working with based in these categories. And so at REI, we have a multi-tiered program, and we look at the creator network really being the foundational level, kind of the baseline. And this is where we recognize and look for a lot of our up-and-comer partners. This is where we test into new relationships. We look at who's already talking about REI. They might be leveraging affiliate tactics already or opting into gifting opportunities with your brand. Again, this is where you can identify and invest in the new folks. And then you can grow them into brand creators. And brand creators are really the established brand partners already that you're consistently paying for paid campaigns. They are the established social media power users or experts at creating that compelling content, engaging a community offline and online. Again, this is kind of like your second step, maybe your like foundational core of your paid partnerships. And then that leads to ambassadors. So this might be where you have your athletes, your pros, maybe even your celeb level talent. And this is more of your enterprise level partners that should be integrated across your brand initiatives and across really your marketing channels. And therefore approached as a long-term strategic partnership. And having these different types of partners within your ecosystem is important for meeting your goals across your funnel. So from awareness to conversion, and then you can map that against your partnership approach with these individuals. And so that's how we look at REI with our creator network. Again, really the up and comers, kind of your affiliate tactics, maybe your product gifting tactics, for establishing those relationships, and then all the way up to that more strategic long-term partner. And so we're going to go through some best practices to consider how we can enable a talent pipeline within your partner ecosystem. And number one, you want to look for the potential in your creator network. And it's really important here to think about the potential and not just the immediate results from your first brand paid campaign with an individual. A lot of factors go at play, and it's not fair to be beholden to the algorithm. And so identify who from your creator network is driving results organically. How are they already talking about your brand? And then invest in them. You might be the first brand to do a sponsored partnership with that individual, and that's okay. That's what we should be doing. That's where we have the opportunity to really drive equity in the outdoor industry and within our partnerships as well. It's important to bringing new faces to your brand and to the industry. And that's where we really have the opportunity to change the face of what our outdoor partnerships look like. And when looking at potential, I mean looking at those qualities that are a little more of the intangible and they can't be tied directly to a KPI, but maybe they align with some of your longer term goals as a brand and as a program. So what does brand values alignment look like with this partner? What are their content strengths? Maybe your first paid partnership with them wasn't actually leaning into some of their best strengths. Maybe they're better on another platform. Maybe they're better with a different content type, thinking like YouTube Shorts versus a carousel post, for example, even looking at avenues like that. Maybe they're a really strong storyteller, or maybe they're a really strong community builder, and you can be working with them in another avenue, another way with your brand and your customers. So again, looking at that potential, and don't be jumping right into looking at that immediate KPIs. Another best practice, number 2 here, is don't overlook the opportunity with affiliate. So maybe that's someone on your team or on another team within your brand. Look at the existing affiliate network as a way to identify new creators as well. These are the individuals that are already talking about your brand. They're that brand advocate already. And so consider how you can look at your affiliate program for identifying those potential creators. And you can do so in a way that is brand aligned, and you want to maintain consistent brand standards, vetting those creators, have that partnership, and establish those characteristics with your affiliate team. Establish an ongoing relationship with your affiliate cohort of creators by incentivizing them with a competitive commission rate, as well as looking at how might you invite them into sneak peeks about product launches, gear, etc., and then engage them for the right paid partnership. So they might be an affiliate already, kind of as an always-on approach, speaking about your brand as they see fit, as a writer, etc., or a content creator. But then when you have the right, say, product launch or sale event or something you want to bring them into, engage them for that paid campaign and begin to learn about how that partnership can continue to evolve. So a question for you, and this is, I guess, a pop quiz for if you listen to Marin's, this should be easy. But who do you think people are most influenced by? Celebs, show of hands, or creators, show of hands? That's right. I'm glad we listened. So 61% of consumers said that relatable content and relatable personalities are really most effective. And so if you're looking at your affiliate network as also an extension of your creator network, that's where your brand advocates live. They're already talking about your brand. They're already a brand fan. And therefore, that's giving space for developing brand affinity among their audiences. And so when you're paying them for a paid campaign, it really shouldn't show as much of a sponsored ad. It should feel very authentic and therefore effective. Best practice number 3 is important, and that is identifying and encouraging your partner's strengths. So whether they're a new partner that you've been working with just within one campaign or several now, and you are developing a relationship, it's really important that you continue to build that relationship with intention. So connect with them. This could look like a quarterly strategic conversation with your top performers, and check in and have conversations like, what is their content strategy and what are their goals as a creator? And then be mapping that back to your opportunities throughout the year, your brand priorities, and what your program can be doing together. What are they enjoying in the creative process? This can be really telling as well. Maybe someone is really enjoying leaning into product reviews and they actually are a really strong product marketer. Or maybe they're more of a really strong storyteller and that's what they want to be focusing on. And therefore, what are the strengths that you're seeing in their content as a result, and how can you further lean into that to inform your partnership strategy together? So here's a case study from one of our partners. This individual we were one of her first brand partners to partner with her, and we quickly saw more follow, which we love to see. But over the last year, we've seen her growth really excel, and the outputs speak for themselves when looking at traffic and sales from her year over year. So we have 2022 in blue, and then we're just through, H1 of 2023. But we saw significant growth from her because we saw really early on that she was a strong product marketer. She would talk about products on her TikToks and Reels that we weren't even telling her about. She was just finding them on REI.com and really bringing them to life in a way that was super authentic and engaging. And so we quickly identified that through conversations with her and through what we were seeing from her content on her channels that she was a strong product marketer, and therefore we wanted to further incentivize her with an increased commission rate. We talked about what else would be interesting to her, and she wanted a like gear stipend for just getting able to buy product as she needs for her product reviews as well. So that further fuels bonus content we call content she's speaking to, plugging REI into throughout the year. And that's really complementary to our paid campaigns with her. The spikes that you see directly correlates to our paid campaigns. And we also see that that's corresponding to those product moments with her. So best practice number 4 is opening doors to create growth for your partners as well. Again, this really speaks to how we can nurture partnerships from that baseline of creator network onto brand creators, and then even the potential for them to grow into a brand ambassador. So how might your brand's platform or network support the growth of your partner's goals? We have a lot of opportunity as a brand. And so how can we be giving that opportunity for your creators really intentionally? This is one of our partners, Cindy, who we've worked with for several years now. And early on the partnership, she shared about how one of her goals was to work with Subaru. She's been seeing Subaru do partnerships with creators that also work with REI. And so we brought that into conversations we were having with Subaru as one of our key brand partners. And so it's been really exciting to see her partnership expand both to online as a creator, sharing tips and tricks for camping with Subaru and REI, but then also in real life. She did a bit of a road show with Subaru this summer and was able to share her expertise at REI stores. So think about our network in the outdoor industry. How can we partner? It's been really fun to do that with Marin and kind of chat about some of our, like, just the joys of building relationships with creators together. And that's best practice number 4, but I'll talk about some patterns we've seen at REI as we've developed relationships with creators and seeing their growth. So no matter how a creator might start out, they could be developing community in real life, and then subsequently, their online platform is growing as they're sharing back that content, or maybe they're simply having a lot of fun sharing how-to tips and tricks on TikTok, and that's taking off. But it starts out with sharing content, and then maybe they are opting into receiving gifted products. They're embracing affiliate tactics as in a hand. It's helping to fuel their content strategy. And then as their following expands, we see their brand partnerships expand. Like I mentioned, we've been several times the first brand partner to invest in a creator. And then a year later, they're telling us, hey, I'm quitting my full-time job and I'm a content creator full-time. That is the joy of my job. And so we start to see that they expand into other verticals and brand partnerships pick up, which is really important to continue to be following along your creator on that journey and being open to being agile, leaning into what's working for them and what's mapping against like your goals and strategies as a brand and your program as well. We know that about 70% of revenue for creators are from brand partnerships. And so, again, it's important, as Marin was saying, to be paying creators and also looking at how can your partnerships be evolving. And then we see creators, because 70% of their revenue is tied to brand partnerships, they're also looking at launching additional revenue streams as they start to scale as well. So that could be they're expanding to newsletters, blogs. They're looking at leading group travel and creating community meetups in their community and maybe area of expertise, like group hikes, for example. So as the revenue streams expand, it also is creating more ways to be developing a loyal audience. And they're no longer just tied to being socially native and tied to performance KPIs on social platforms. They really are a multimedia creator and ambassador at that point, and that's where they reach that ambassador level where that partnership becomes more strategic. And therefore, on the brand side, you can be looking at that as more of an upper funnel opportunity. So through this creator pipeline, you also want to be developing it in partnership with your peers. So who are your colleagues on the growth marketing or brand marketing team that you can be bringing your creators into conversations with? So this is something that we do at REI and we found really valuable because you can be plugging in creators across growth and brand marketing, from affiliate and social selling tactics to more experiential, like in-person events, content, braid pan media, and of course, organic social. And this adds a lot of value for your creators as well because you're plugging them into different deliverable types and it gives more ways of working with the brand. but therefore also makes your partnerships more agile and durable. So the value for the creator in all of this is that you're creating opportunities for them to grow with your brand and to expand their own platform. And then the value for the brand is that you're creating a durable program that can be agile. Social media can change just on a whim, at the whim of a social platform changing. And you're also creating a measurable program that's enhanced by measuring the outputs through other marketing programs, like how are things performing on affiliate, how might be an influencer creative asset be performing against a brand creative asset on paid social, etc. So I encourage you to think about how might you be developing a partner ecosystem within your ambassador marketing strategies that is both durable, agile, and measurable for your brand, but then also is really valuable for your partners as well. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere.
Amazing. Thank you, Marin and Lauren. Can you guys come back up, please? Because amazing information, and we have some time left. So I think what we'd like to do with this period is just hand over the mic and just do some Q&A. And I mean, this is such a relevant topic for everyone in the room that I think we can learn a lot from your insights. So we have about 15 minutes, and then we get to go outside and play. So I'm going to just open it up to questions and hand it right back to the two of you.
Before we open it up, we have a fun video to kick us off. Right. I forgot, but cannot be missed.
If you feel stuck inside, get the outside. Wow, nature is magic.
So before we all go outside together, we'll open it up to questions. But again, a really fun example of the power of brands coming together with our creators. Yeah.
Is it mostly a grow from this influencer? I mean, do you pattern that way? Is that the plan for REI?
Well, that's a really good question because it can really vary. What we looked for at REI when we were starting out our program was developing long-term relationships at a scale that was manageable, so maybe like 15 long-term relationships. But then as we've expanded our partnership and looking at ways of complementing that with more creators at scale, and that also is kind of fueling the ability to be investing long-term relationships, because you always want to have like some partnerships being established and then some partnerships that are more tenured, because you want to be able to have that agility as things change.
How do you find, and what if you were to skip to the end to an ambassador? How do you find an ambassador?
Oh, good question. Marin?
I can answer that from the North Face perspective. So we obviously work with a lot of professional athletes. So a lot of our athletes are more on the athlete side. And typically they're going to be like competing in the sport very actively and already somewhat connected with the brand. There really isn't anyone we work with that doesn't already have some kind of connection. And it's really because a lot of these people we already are so connected with from the outdoor industry. So like Patty, as an example, we had donated to a nonprofit queer summer camp that Patty was a leader at for I think 2 summers before we ever even started talking about doing sponsored content. And then we started with sponsored content, and now we have an entire event series. Yeah. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, you.
My question is kind of similar to his, but on the other side, how are you sourcing kind of like those lesser known content creators and influencers, I guess outside of like your affiliate networks?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to answer that?
Yeah. So outside of the affiliate network, where that's really people opting in and already talking about REI, we look at similarly on social, and we partner really closely with our social team, understanding where is really strong UGC already coming in from.
What's that measurable? Is it hashtags? How
Yeah, you can look at hashtags, brand tags. We also, I spend a lot of time on Instagram, to be frank, and so does our team. And also just being engrossed in the outdoor industry as well, seeing where like certain trends are popping up. And we can kind of identify based on like certain niches that we want to be talking about in a campaign as well. I know that's a bit broad, but we also leverage some tools, and we have an agency partner that helps supplement all of that. But I would say, frankly, some of our best partners have come from individuals, myself and the rest of my team have just identified from being kind of engrossed in social and in the industry.
So just kind of organically.
Organically, yeah. Anything to add to that? Okay. Yeah.
How do you measure ROI, especially if it's not product specific?
If the campaign isn't looking to like drive sales or like traffic to a product, we're looking at reach and engagement rate on the platforms. That engagement rate can be extended on looking like what's the overall sentiment of the campaign of that post, how is that piece of content engaging their audience, and so kind of analyzing what comments are, even asking the creator for feedback on like what are they getting in their DMs, how do they feel like this post performed compared to other sponsored content of a similar message.
I can add to that a little bit too. We obviously look at the social metrics, and that's important, like looking at impressions, looking at engagement. But for a lot of partners, we're looking at something bigger than that. We're looking at like who's actually driving brand heat for us. So like that Summer of Pride video, it actually reached 5 billion people through media. Some of those were the right people, some of them weren't. And so that's something that's measurable, that's beyond just the social channel. So that actually had an impact that like hit the news cycle and then expanded our reach so much more than just social. In the back.
Are your partners typically contracted, and how do you handle situations where they're no longer relevant to your brand or aren't driving the ROI that you want to see?
Yeah. On the North Face side, they're all contracted. It just different time lengths. So if you think of like that chart Lauren had with ambassadors on the furthest right, those people are always on like year-long contracts. We're doing a ton of different content pieces throughout the year, where some people might be on like a single campaign contract. And so we're usually in very close conversations, like we're having those conversations over time. So if things change, if the scope or scale changes, it's usually not a surprise, and it's like something we come to agree on together.
Yeah, fully agree.
Yeah, same at REA. How about right here? You.
On the affiliate ambassadors, do you ever track like if you see lift in the actual product they're promoting in the sell-through? Is the product a category? Are they purchasing that, or did you just go to the site?
Yeah. So we partner really closely with our affiliate team. I see Jenny in the back, my awesome partner in crime, and we've been able to see correlation in product sell-through from the specific products. We equip our partners with, affiliate links. We kind of guide them on the process of being affiliate. That's something that's a little bit newer to them as well. And we've been able to see like direct correlation. And they posted this blog post, and they had social posts that were complementary. That's kind of the best avenue of like a social post is driving traffic to a longer format post. And that post has like 100% share of voice to links. For your brand, we've been able to see direct correlation both in product category and the actual product. Even with also, I would say, beyond social, with organic search results from our brand, from an influencer reviewing a product or wearing a product.
Yeah, I'm curious if your companies draw a line or delineate between like the athlete development programs and media and ambassador program influencers. Like, are those different groups, and do you work together?
Do you want to take that one?
Yes. So at the North Face, being it's a larger brand, we have completely separate teams running all those different divisions. So we have an athlete team that manages, we have a couple hundred global athletes. So there's like 5 people whose full-time job is the athlete management side. And that's a different approach. It is more of that brand heat side, right? So like Jimmy Chin, any film you see Jimmy Chin in, he's wearing the North Face hat, right? He's not doing an Instagram post promoting a specific product for us. So my team that sits under social and community, we focus on the creators, and then our PR team oversees the celeb influencer. So if you see like Emrata on the side of a basketball game on a date with Pete Davidson, she sold out one of our jackets because of this date. And that's all like seeded to her through our PR team that is amazing. Yeah. One more maybe? Do we have time for one or two more?
Yeah, you got time.
Okay, yeah, let's go here.
Is there kind of a going rate with your creators? As I'm kind of struggling with, like, when I reach out and try to do what you're doing on a smaller scale, a little bit at a loss of like what is the going rate? What should we expect in terms of return, and how much money is going to change hands?
such a good question. How does the money come?
Yeah. I don't think that there's a good answer to that. Like, it's so dependent on what your brand is, what your business objectives are, what are you bringing to the table. I loved what Lauren talked about with bringing so much more than just compensation. So it's really dependent on so many factors. There are some good resources online though. So if you can actually look up, I think Grin is the one who publishes like an industry report where you can see like what are some of the going rates based on follower count for different industries. And I don't think they have outdoor specifically, but you could look at like retail. Yeah. Let's.
Grin, G-R-I-N?
Yeah. Let's.
Influencer Marketing Hub also has resources.
Oh yeah, Influencer Marketing Hub. Let's do one more and then we can go to the scavenger hunt early. Yeah.
How are you handling platforms like TikTok, who now are their own TikTok shop, and they are seriously not liking influencers having any links to anywhere? And so how are you handling that? And I'm sure it's going to be happening with all the other platforms as well, especially Twitter is another one. We've heard about how they're slowing it down, so it's like 5 to 10 seconds until you get to that link, and most people don't go to it. So how does that play in all of this?
Well, I don't know if I'm the best person to answer that question because that falls a little outside of my team and our strategy with creators as well. But definitely navigating like the changes in platform, it keeps us on our toes. And definitely something that like we have conversations as a broader team because it does involve teams outside of my own when it comes to like social selling and whatnot.
Where do they typically put their links to your product? Where is that in the social app?
We've seen the most success with Instagram stories. And again, also looking at how can those stories be driving traffic to a longer format post that can really dive into recommendations for products.
Yeah, I would just add too that it's constantly changing. So like what we were doing 6 months ago is not what we're doing today, and what we're doing 6 months from now will probably be totally different. In April is when Meta is going to switch over and all Instagram shops have to become Instagram checkout. So it's going to really change the game on Instagram too. So our social teams will just be like scurrying around trying to figure it out until then. Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. It was great having everyone here.